The detective said missing kids usually come home. What happens when they don't?
Based on a true story.
Police looking for John Gacy.
We discovered bodies. By the looks of it, they're younger men.
The things he did to those kids. He's sick.
The system failed these families.
Devil in Disguise, John Wayne Gacy. Streaming now, only on Peacock.
Do you know how many there are?
Up to you to find out.
Anyone can follow. It takes something special to be an original, which is why the 2025 Lincoln Navigator SUV arrives with new ways of surrounding you in luxury, including the ultra-wide 48-inch panoramic display and the multi-sensory Lincoln Rejuvenate experience. A true original never stops evolving. So meet the 2025 Navigator, the original that's all new and better than ever. Learn more at Lincoln.com. Lincoln and Navigator are trademarks of Ford or its affiliates.
Welcome back to Connect with Jonathan Mark. We've had so many people reaching out about cases and ones that they want to hear about from their hometowns or these larger cases. But a big update recently happened with the Ellen Greenberg case out of Philly on the East Coast. And I want to kind of tackle that case and go through everything. Like, I want to go through from the beginning to the middle to the end to the after, what people think, kind of what I feel on it, because I've been asked about this on many shows. And it's almost, I want to say, 13 years old. I think this happened in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to go through everything, guys. I'm going to share when it happened, who's involved, like what's the update. So let's get right into this. On January 26th of 2011, 27-year-old school teacher Ellen Greenberg was found dead in her Philly apartment with 20 stab wounds. Now, that's a lot, guys. That's a lot. I'm sure you don't even need me to tell you that, but it is kind of insane. And the reason why I'm saying that's insane is because working on cases, I've learned there's intent with murder, right? When someone does 20 stabs or shoots 10 times, like there's an intent to kill. Most of the time, it's not like they're trying to injure someone. At first, the medical examiner ruled it a homicide, but just a few weeks later, that ruling was changed to a suicide. Now, that was really controversial in many ways and still is today. Basically, the questions that I kind of ask, and I think the public asks, is how does a woman stab herself 20 times, including the back of her neck and her head? Another thing to note, guys, our bodies have this fight or flight instinct. So if I was to want to jump down a flight of stairs and I kind of get my body to do it, our body's reaction is to curl up and absorb the hit. So for someone to stab themselves 20 times in the back of her neck and her head is kind of a bizarre thing. And another big question is, then close the case, like right after, changing it from a homicide to a suicide and closing it. Like that's also pretty strange. So for more than a decade, Ellen's parents have been fighting for really one thing, and that's the truth. Ellen was a beloved first grade teacher in Philly. Friends described her as a kind, caring, and a deeply devoted person to not just her friends and family, but to her students that she teaches. She was engaged to a Sam Goldberg. He was a television producer who lived in the Venice Lofts, a secure apartment building in Philly. So they both lived together in that apartment. In the weeks before her death, Ellen had shown signs of stress and anxiety. She's recently started an anti-anxiety medication, but she was also planning a wedding, a trip with friends. She was planning her future, which to many people, yes, can be, there's some anxiety behind like the future, but she was just put on medication. So things must have been pretty significant for her to jump on medication. By every outward sign, Ellen's life was great and just beginning. On January 26th, there was a blizzard. Schools closed early and Ellen left work around 1 p.m. She stopped for gas, texted her mom, and headed home. Later that afternoon, her fiancé Sam went downstairs to the building gym, When he returned, he found the door locked from the inside with the swing bar latch engaged, the kind you can't even open with a key. Now, what they've learned from this, and from my understanding, was in this building, if you slam the door hard, the latch will close. So if Sam, the fiance, or even Ellen left, like if he left and he slammed the door, the latch was going to close. If she was mad and she slammed the door behind him, the latch would close. So they've learned within this building that this happens to many apartments. So he called and texted Ellen repeatedly. And in the text, it was, "Hello, open the door. You okay? I'm getting pissed." There was no response. And after 20 minutes, Sam forced the door open with his shoulder. Inside, Ellen was slumped against the kitchen cabinets, a knife in her chest and blood pooling beneath her. He called 911, telling dispatchers his fiancée fell on a knife. She stabbed herself. Police arrived to the apartment, and I think this is where people have a lot of questions, because I have learned from talking to people that people think that the case potentially could have been mishandled. So I'm not sure. I wasn't on the case. I wasn't with the police. I haven't spoken to the police. So I don't really know. So the police arrived and the apartment was titty. No forced entry. It was very clean. No footprints in the snow outside. And Ellen was pronounced dead at the scene. Another thing I want to reference to you guys, I spoke to people about this case. So if you live on the East Coast, blizzards are like a pretty big thing. It happens. And within a blizzard, you can have a footprint and it can be covered within 10 minutes. So the footprint is gone in 10 minutes or less. So when the autopsy was performed, the findings stunned everyone. And I think this is where everyone got super drawn to this case, even though there's 20 stab wounds. I think what drew everyone to this, aside from what I'm about to read, was the homicide is suicide. Ellen had 20 stab wounds, 10 to the back of her neck and 10 to the chest and the abdomen. Some penetrated 5 inches deep. One even punctured her spinal cord. She also had bruises on her arms, her legs, her abdomen in different stages of healing. Philadelphia's medical examiner, Dr. Marlon Osborne, ruled Ellen's death a homicide. But weeks later, that ruling mysteriously changed to a suicide after meetings between the ME's office, police, and the district attorneys. Now, ME's medical examiner, just so you guys know. The explanation? Authorities said that the locked door and the lack signs of struggle suggested no one else was inside. But could anyone, especially someone without defensive wounds, possibly inflict 20 stab wounds on themselves, many from behind? The question has haunted the Greenberg family ever since. From the very beginning, the Greenbergs questioned nearly every part of the investigation. For one, the door latch. Police argued the apartment was sealed from the inside, but several experts have shown that the latch could have been manipulated or closed after the fact. Then there's the forensic evidence. Independent pathologists, including Dr. Cyril Wecht, Dr. Wayne Ross, and Dr. Henry Lee, all said the suicide ruling didn't make sense. Dr. Wecht said bluntly, no person could physically self-inflict these wounds, particularly those to the back and to the head, and remain conscious. Now, that's the thing. Like I was trying to explain to you guys, like there's just no way that like someone could really do that to themselves and continue to harm themselves.
A message from McAfee. Wondering why the post office is texting you or why you owe thousands of dollars in toll fees? Because someone's trying to scam you. The good news? McAfee can help. With McAfee's award-winning scam detection, it's easy to tell what's real and what's fake over text, in your inbox, and online. If they're
You want a free gift?
Seriously? If they're faking it, they're not making it past us. Get award-winning scam detection today. McAfee.com/keepitreal.
You don't technically need this car. You say that out loud to yourself. You say, I have no space. You say, I'm just looking. Then you click. Then you zoom in on photo number 87 and whisper, oh no. Then you text a friend, the one who always enables you. You say to yourself, this is the last one, knowing it is not. You don't need this car. But maybe, just maybe, this car needs you. bring a trailer. It's never just a car.
Hi, it's Eva Longoria, and let's be real. After 40, we should ask for more from our skincare. I swear by Revitalift Triple Power Moisturizer by L'Oreal Paris. With vitamin C, pro-retinol, and hyaluronic acid, it reduces my wrinkles, firms, and brightens. And it's not a procedure. It's just a hardworking moisturizer.
Revitalift Triple Power Moisturizer by L'Oreal Paris. Grab it today in fragrance-free or with SPF 30. Available at your local Walmart.
There were also questions about how this scene was handled. And that's what I was talking about before. People have a lot of questions about how this case was handled. The day after Ellen's death, the apartment was cleaned and personal items were removed, including her computers and phones. Reportedly, they were retrieved by a relative of her fiancé, not the investigators. And while the police pointed to Ellen's mental health as a possibility, her family insists she was never suicidal. She just filled her gas tank, made plans with friends, and even emailed her students' parents about the classwork for the following day. Her father, Josh Greenberg, said, "We are not saying who did it. We're saying she didn't do this to herself." Now, this is going to be more of a recent of what's going on because it's going to be taking place in 2019, guys. In 2019, Ellen's parents filed a lawsuit against Philadelphia's medical examiner's office demanding her death be reclassified as a homicide or undetermined. Earlier this year, in 2025, the city settled the case, agreeing to pay the Greenbergs and re-examine the death. Now, that's huge that the fact that the city even did that. I don't know if you guys know, but like how difficult that is to get someone to change and take acknowledgement is pretty impossible, especially when they had so many hands in the pot with this case. Even the original medical examiner, Dr. Osborne, signed an affidavit admitting that Ellen's death should not have been ruled a suicide. But last month, October of 2025, Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Lindsay Simon released a 32-page report reaffirming the suicide ruling. And that's the big news, guys. Like, that is absolutely the big news. The Greenbergs' attorneys immediately fired back, calling it a deeply flawed, claiming key evidence was ignored, including Ellen's bruises and conflicting wound patterns. He was just basically saying that what you just said doesn't like even make sense. It's flawed, like the bruises of the healing. And I can definitely say this, guys, when I work on cases and they look and examine like what happened, they do look at the bruising if someone was held down, if someone was hit, because when someone's held down hard and they're doing something horrific to someone like a murder, they squeeze so tight that they bruise the skin. The case remains under legal review, and the family continues to appeal for a full reopening. Meanwhile, the story has reached national attention once again. Through true crime podcasts, I guess including mine, documentaries, and the Hulu docuseries Death of Apartment 603, What Happened to Ellen Greenberg. Now, with most cases like this, it obviously reaches people like myself, other podcasters, streamers, etc. I feel like that's what happens a lot. And it's always a good and bad thing. I spoke about this many times. It's good for the exposure, but then with the exposure, the bad side is that people then come up with these conspiracy theories and stuff. The case of Ellen Greenberg forces us to ask uncomfortable questions about, the trust and power. I mean, I guess that's true. And the big thing that I think, if you were to look back, and I'm speaking for myself about this, like it does at times make you question the truth, right? It's like if things keep going back and forth and there's outside circumstances, like the family is super connected, whatever it is, it does make you question like what's the truth? And really all the families want is the truth. Good, bad, or indifferent. It helps with the closure. It helps. And I don't think that's how sometimes people think. How does a homicide ruling quietly become a suicide with no clear explanation? And I guess who gets to decide what justice really looks like? Is it the system? Does the family get left behind in like trying to find some type of justice and like what it could really look like? I think the justice of what it could look like potentially is, and I could, this is how I'm thinking, is just getting the truth of like what happened. And like I said, good, bad, or indifferent, the truth is the truth, and it will help them take a step forward in their grieving. 14 years later, Ellen's parents are still searching for answers. They've said that they'll fight until the daughter's death is properly investigated. Maybe the question isn't just what happened to Ellen Greenberg, but how many other cases are quietly ruled away and never to be questioned again? That is a good point, because like we don't know every single case, right? Like, we know about this case because it's national. We don't know how many cases that this could potentially happen to, and that would break my heart to find that there's many, many cases like that. Like that would just like literally break my heart, because like the families are probably left with like, what the heck? We just want to know the truth. A good resource if you are struggling, potentially how Ellen was, and I'm not saying that she was suicidal in any way, but even if you're struggling just a little bit about anything, life, work, and you feel just so down, you don't know who to talk to, you can reach out to 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline anytime, day or night. And I'm not saying that Ellen was like that, and I'm not saying that you potentially are like that, but you should always know your resources. You should always know, because we all have bad days, and sometimes it's just nice to talk to someone, including myself. Like if I have a bad day, I always need to like vent and talk, and sometimes people don't have that luxury, or if you're not comfortable to do it. So please just look into it. And I just want to say again, like I appreciate every single one of you guys that listen to the show. I mean, it means a lot to me. I try my best just to help as many people as I can. And I appreciate every person that listens, that helps these families, and the families that come on this and trust in me to do this. And if you or anyone else are affected by any cases, anything like that, please send me an email at connectjonathanmark@gmail.com, or send me a DM on my Instagram at JonathanMarkMedium. Please follow all my social media. It's all Jonathan Mark Medium. It's very easy to find. It would mean everything to me. Once again, I appreciate you. Do not forget to rate and review the show 5 stars, and I'll see you next week.